Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our newest edition for the Namibian Remuneration Trends for June 2020. 2020 has definitely not turned out according to plan, and there's no doubt that the year has not been forgiving and very prosperous to date. In light of COVID-19 and all of the economic challenges we now face, we as Namibian employers are now faced more than ever with the challenges of remunerating responsibly. We are confronted with a balancing act of maintaining a sustainable, affordable wage bill, whilst sustaining a remuneration philosophy which would still attract, motivate and retain our talent. We wish to share with the public what is happening in the labour market in Namibia as of now, considering pay practices, post-lockdown, and as well where we are now recovering from COVID-19. So let's have a look at what's happening in the Namibian market. Before we jump into the remuneration trends, we first need to have a relook at the big picture, the total rewards model. This model is a framework for designing the strategies of the organization, whereby to attract, retain, and motivate employees. The total reward strategy is determined in context of the overall business strategy as well as the HR strategy, the organizational culture, as well as a multitude of external influences like industry and regulatory requirements, COVID-19 regulations, and many more. This can change very quickly, and we as organizations need to be responsive enough to adapt to the changes in our environment. The reward strategy leverages 5 elements to attract, retain, and motivate employees, including compensation, benefits, work-life integration, performance and recognition, and finally, career development and learning opportunities. The model functions as an exchange relationship between the employee and the employer. It's basically a give-and-take concept of performance and results in relation to job satisfaction and engagement. The model needs to be defined in an organization to have a solid reward philosophy aligned to the overall business objectives. Now, looking at the reward model regularly is important to understand if the company philosophy and strategy still fits with the current economic, business, and environmental situations, like the situation Namibia finds itself in now. Does your philosophy still fit post-lockdown, and how has COVID affected the sustainability of your strategies and philosophies? Before looking at the remuneration trends, we need to understand what the source is of the remuneration data used in the trend analysis. Now, the source is obviously REMchannel. The source of our data is PwC REMchannel, the largest online salary survey in Namibia. What is REMchannel? REMchannel is an internet-based electronic business tool that can be customized for complex remuneration practices. It's an extensive and detailed current database on remuneration and benefit statistics, and it's specific to Namibia. REMchannel's distinctive features include easy data submission and retrieval, it's real-time, it's instantaneous, flexible, and we have a stringent data validation process in place to ensure that we capture relevant current remuneration data. The data is accessible online 24/7, 365 days a year. Reports can be customized for you. The data is published every month. We have more than 60,000 active data points, 1,800 market positions, and we have more than 100 active participants, which we will look at a little bit later. Included in our data source is a split of the specific industries that we can look into for remuneration trends. Now, we refer to these industries as circles within our data set. Now, currently, we have 16 circles, including Namibian National as a whole. If we look at the circles within REMchannel, Namibian National would be the ocean. All the other circles would be the rivers that feed into the Namibian National Circle. In other words, when a participant joins the survey, they automatically form part of the Namibian National Circle and also one industry-specific circle. Now, you might be wondering how a circle is opened or established. An industry circle is opened when a minimum of 7 participants or 7 companies within the same industry have subscribed to REMchannel. We focus on growing our survey by building it by industry type. Now, let's have a look at the industry circles on REMchannel. We have financial services, the retail sector, a split between the private sector and the public sector or public enterprises. Public enterprises are then split by the three different PAYGA classifications according to the PAYGA Act, PAYGA 1, 2, and 3. That's commercial, non-commercial, and financial entities. Then we have the banking sector, retail banking sector, the technical sector, the mining sector, higher education, Namibia fast-moving consumer goods, manufacturing, and finally financial services private sector. We are also currently focusing on opening new circles, which include hospitality and tourism, the insurance industry, and then energy or petroleum. But to be clear, these circles are not yet open, hence we don't have sufficient data sets for those industries. What happens when a participant requests to be part of a circle that is not their primary industry? We have to request from all participants in the said industry circle to grant their permission to become part of the industry circle. Should you want to be an extra subscription to an additional circle that is within your industry, you can by all means join, but this will come at an additional cost. In a nutshell, when subscribing to REMchannel, your subscription includes access to the Namibian National Circle and one industry-specific circle. Should the need to arise to gain access to more than one circle, please contact us and discuss the options and the fees involved. So here we have Namibian National. All of the participants that participate within REMchannel. We have more than 100 clients. I'm not going to read through them in detail now, but you're welcome to have a look at them, or if you need a full list, please contact us and we will share a list with you. Today, our REM trend will very much focus on the comparison between what's happening in the private sector versus what's happening in public enterprises within Namibia. Hence, we've now included the participant lists split between the private sector companies and the public enterprises. Let's read through the list of the public enterprises in the yellow block. Currently subscribed to REMchannel for public enterprises between the various PAYGA classifications includes Agribank, August 26 Holding Company, Bank of Namibia, CRAN, ECB, EIF, GIPF, Meat Board, Meatco, MTC, MVA, Namdia, Namibia Airports Company, Namfisa, NIP, Namapri, Nampost, Nampower, NQA, NTA, University of Science and Technology, NamWater, NWR, Namibia College for Open Learning, Namport, Nampost Financial Brokers, Namcor, Roads Authority, Transnamib, and University of Namibia. Now that we know who we will be comparing with or which industries we are comparing against each other, we need to understand what we will be comparing. Now, all organizations pay differently. Some pay basic plus benefits and others pay total cost to company or total guaranteed package or cafeteria packages. But what's important to understand is within REMchannel, we incorporate all items that form part of total guaranteed package. And the definition for that is the items that are included in the total package are all payments and benefits of a fixed and regular nature and are capable of exact valuation. People are usually entitled to these payments and benefits when they show up for work. So we do record some variable income like overtime and bonuses, but it's not included for comparison purposes, and this is to ensure that we compare apples with apples. Now, what's normally included in total guaranteed package is basic cash payments, annual guaranteed bonuses or 13th check, pension, provident and medical benefits or contributions, and that's specifically employer contributions, company car benefits, housing allowances, subsidies, free or cheap housing, telephone tool and computer allowances, all type of fixed allowances like car and travel allowances, entertainment allowances, and then we also specifically include other cash benefits which run through the payroll and which are paid on a regular basis. We also incorporate other non-cash benefits, for example, Social Security or benefits that they receive in goods which can be converted to a cash value. This is what we use to compare with within the REMchannel market data. In this next section, we will look at some market statistics. First of all, remuneration package composition. We will look at how packages are made up of in the Namibian market. Here we have a look at what the package structures look like within Namibian National as a whole. Now what we see is we split it by employee level from executives, management, general staff and unionized staff, and a split between how they structure their packages from basic plus benefits versus total package. Now, based on the current information available in REMchannel, between 64% and 82% of general staff and unionized staff are still on basic plus remuneration structures in the Namibian market. As the overall market is still highly influenced by union involvement, it is evident unionized employees prefer the basic plus benefits approach. The reason for this is unionized staff is offered an opportunity to negotiate on individual benefits and elements within this package approach. From the statistics, it's evident that the majority of management and executives are on Total Guaranteed Package, or TGP. The market trend tends to be that TGP is preferred by employees making use of various allowances, but this is not the only benefit TGP structuring can offer. TGP also allows for easier market comparison, more individual package structure flexibility, and also assists with creating internal equity within an organization, and is thus fast becoming the preferred package approach for most companies. Let's have a look at the other industries. For public enterprises, or the public sector within REMchannel, we also see that general staff and unionized staff still prefer the basic plus benefits approach. Management and executives are, on the other hand, incorporating total package approach in their remuneration structures. We do note from various consultations within the public enterprises environment that converting from the basic plus benefits approach to total package does prove cumbersome for a lot of organizations and involve extensive consultation as well as calculation in order to perform it correctly, and thus we still see the majority is making use of basic plus benefits. Now, it's not advisable within the general market to make use of two different remuneration structures within your organization, because it does come at an administrative burden for internal processing purposes. So it's advisable to rather stick with just one approach, either basic plus benefits or total package. And obviously deciding on which to use is heavily reliant on your total reward philosophy and strategy within the organization. Within the Namibian private sector, we actually see a slightly different picture. Yes, unionized staff are still very much prefer the basic plus benefits approach, but for your general staff, we actually see a reduction in numbers to about 60%. Total Guaranteed Package is still favored by executives and top management. Our next slide focuses on how the Total Guaranteed Package is actually made up of. And here we will only focus on Namibian National as a whole and not necessarily split the industries. We do have a split between what a package looked like for management and what a package would look like for a staff member or unionized staff, because we see the difference in the remuneration approaches from our previous slides. Now, for TAC staff members, we do note that the majority of the total guaranteed package is your basic cash, which is about a 61%. Then we see a portion going to guaranteed bonuses or a 13th check, a 12% going towards housing subsidy or allowances. We have other cash benefits. Car allowance is very small for staff members, about 2%. Medical scheme is about 9% of the package. And then the other important element is your retirement scheme, which only makes up at about 8%. Management, on the other hand, we do see a smaller portion going towards basic cash, about 56%. There's also a smaller portion going towards guaranteed bonus, and that's normally because there is a bigger performance bonus element in play in their remuneration practices. Housing allowances and subsidies is slightly higher, that's about 15% of their package. Car allowances is then larger than for staff, that's about 6%. Medical scheme 5%, and then retirement scheme is 10%. So normally when we consult for organizations, we would get the question of how a package should be made up on and what is the best market practice in terms of benefits and offers within a package made to your employees. Now there are best market practices in terms of what the percentage ranges should be for basic cash, for housing, vehicle, all of the different elements you want to offer within your package. And the statistics that we capture within the survey assists us with gauging how our market is actually comparing towards the best market practices. The next section of market statistics continues, and here we will have a closer look at what the effect of our current inflation has on annual increments. So what has happened with annual increments granted since January 2020 up to now, June 2020, versus what's happening with the inflation rate. Normally in this section, we would talk about what is the drive behind annual increases. Now, normally the drive behind annual increases is mostly the CPI indicator, union negotiations, housing price indexes, cost of living expenses, all of those type of elements. But we see a significant change in the way that we are now looking at salary increases or increments, and if we should actually be granting salary increases in 2020. Now, post-COVID or post-lockdown within Namibia, everything seemed to be on track and functioning as normal. And then lockdown happened and our economic indicators started shifting downwards. Currently, our CPI for April 2020 was published at a 1.6%. Now, the average CPI over the past 6 months is about 2.4%, and the average CPI over the last 12 months is about 2.9%, which is significantly lower than it's been for the past 3 to 4 to 5 years. Normally, there's a close correlation between CPI and the annual increases granted, but 2020 will definitely prove to be different. We actually have an indication from several organizations that there will be no salary increases for the foreseeable future. Some organizations also argue that the low CPI does not warrant a cost of living adjustment at all and hence will not provide the salary increase. Others will merely adjust the mandatory budgeted increases previously approved down to meet the current CPI percentage. The question is, what will the negotiations now be based on if the CPI is this low? Will the low CPI come to the advantage of the employer instead of the employees like in the past? In the next few slides, we look at what the projected mandatory increases are as of May and June 2020 and how it has actually fluctuated since January 2020. Here we have a view of the reported pay adjustments as of June 2020 within the Namibian national market segment. We split the pay adjustments by employee level, executives, management, general staff, and unionized staff. And we also split it between the percentage increases that were granted for the last 12 months versus the percentage increases or the mandatory budgetary increases for the next 12 months. And the split between basic plus benefits approach packages and total guaranteed package. For executives, we can see that on basic plus benefits, in the last 12 months, 5.4% was granted, but it's projected to only be a 3.8% in the next 12 months. On TGP, 4.3% in the last 12 months, reduced to a 3.8% for the next 12 months. On management, we see a fairly big difference between basic plus benefits. 6% was granted in the previous 12 months and only 4% is projected for the next 12 months. Within Namibia National, general staff, in the past 12 months, 6.1% was offered on basic plus benefits, very much the same for unionized staff, and that is reduced significantly to a projection of 4.5% or a 4.2% increase for the next 12 months. So we can see a significant difference in what was granted in the last 12 months versus what's being projected for the next period. The next market segment we look at is Namibia public enterprises, and here we see large differences, specifically on total guaranteed package. On executive level, in the past 12 months, 3.5% was granted, but they now only project 1.9%. On management, previously a 4.2 was granted, and that's reduced by 2% to only a 2.2% increase. These figures are fairly aligned to the average CPI. The trend continues on general staff and unionized staff for the public enterprises sector, where the general staff previously received a 6.2% on their basic salary increases, and it's projected to be only a 3.9% for the next 12 months. Unionized staff can expect a 3% difference from a previous year increases to this year. How will our markets respond with these increases? The final market segment we look at is the private sector, and we see the picture looks very much different than for the public enterprises. In the past 12 months on executives, it ranged about 5% increase, and then there is a drop to about 3.2% on basic salary or a 4.7% on TGP. On management, we also see a drop, not that significant, basic salary from a 5.6% to about a 3.8% increase. The trend continues with the general staff and the unionized staff. And they are fairly matched to previous increases, except for the basic salary decrease of about a 1.4%. On unionized staff, there's also a fairly big decrease from a 6.6% to a 4.8%. Here we've included an additional trend analysis to show or illustrate the movement of the increment predictions from February 2020 up to June 2020. So every single month with our uploads in REMchannel, we request that organizations provide their mandatory budgetary increases on a month-by-month basis. So we wanted to see what was the movement in the view from February 2020 post-lockdown, what their increases were predicted to be for the next 12 months versus how it looks now. Now on executive level, we see there was a decrease on basic salary from a 4.9 to a 3.8%. On general staff, the biggest change we see on total guaranteed package from a 5.6% to a 4.5%. On management, fairly aligned with a decrease, yes, and the biggest impact is expected on unionized staff level. Previously, increases predicted at a 4.7% and now dropped to a 3.2%. It's definitely evident that the CPI has influenced the predicted increases for the next 12 months. However, CPI is not the only drive. It is obviously also driven by company performance and how they are recovering after lockdown, and obviously the foreseeable future in terms of sustainable wage bill. Now we get to the fun part, where we look at the REM trends from January 2020 to June 2020. The first trend we would like to share with you is from the Namibian national dataset, where we look at the job discipline distribution. Now the job discipline includes about 3,546 data points within the Namibian national dataset. Most employees' positions are to the support services and administrative type jobs, followed by the technical positions and then the sales function positions. This merely shows which disciplines form the core functions of the majority of businesses and which supplement the core function. Now, from the Namibian national data set, the support services take up the majority. But when we look at specific industries, then we normally see the core business discipline would be in the majority and then followed by the support function. For example, mining. Within the mining industry, the technical discipline is obviously of the most and then followed by the support services. Now, considering lockdown, COVID, and the impact that it has on employers and their workforce, we wanted to gauge if there was an actual movement in terms of employee numbers within our national data set. And we refer to that as a sample movement. So for each data point submitted within the national data set, we refer to as that as a data point or a sample size. Now, if there's a significant reduction in the sample size, it would mean that there are no longer employees captured within the survey. So basically, we wanted to see if we can see any retrenchments coming out of our sample data set, specifically looking at our sample size from January to the sample size that we now have in June. And we don't see a significant dip in the sample size. We do see a slight change in top management and executives and senior management, but we actually see an increase in the sample size on all the other levels, from unskilled to professionally qualified staff levels. The conclusion of the analysis is that we can't necessarily see any retrenchments that's reflecting in our data set of yet. It could be possible that we may see it in the next few months. Within REMchannel, we collect an array of information pertaining to your employees' data. Specifically included in that information is the age of the employee, the gender of the employee, and we also have employment equity classifications. Now, it's always interesting to look at the market as a whole to see what is the age distribution within our current workforce, as well as the gender distribution. Now, for Namibia National, the view is as follows. The majority of our workforce is in the ages 26 up to 55, which comes at no surprise. And then that is broken up into 3 different age categories, where the categories 26 to 35 makes up the majority of our workforce. Now, the gender distribution, currently the Namibian national market is still male-dominated at about 57% and females at about 43%. Now, this is the Namibian national view. Now, some industries are specifically gender dominated, like the mining industry is definitely male dominated due to the technical discipline involved there, whereas the financial services sector as well as the retail sector is actually female dominated. Our next trend view is to see how we, Namibia, our national data set is comparing to our SADC neighbors, specifically South Africa, Botswana, and Swaziland, because that is the information that we also capture in REMchannel. Now, we normally expect that South Africa will be significantly higher than all other countries, and yes, that is slightly the case. But if you do look closer, for example, on the semi-skilled level and on the skilled level, as well as professionally qualified, Namibia matches and compares very well with South Africa being the yellow bar. On average, calculating from unskilled up to top management and executive level, South Africa is 30% higher than Namibia. Botswana is about 13% lower than Namibia. But we have to remember, Botswana has a significantly different remuneration structure as a whole, where they don't contribute to medical or pension benefits. That is government subsidized. Swaziland is about 24% lower than Namibia. Here we now look at the industries within Namibia and how the actual industries compare with each other or compare with Namibia National as a whole. So which industry is the clear leader in Namibia? Mining. The mining industry is the clear leader by an average of 87%. The mining industry basically pays 87% more than the Namibia National as a whole. Then we look at retail. Is retail leading or lagging? Retail is lagging in the market norm by about 29%. Finance and banking sector is just above the market by about 38%. The manufacturing industry lags the market with about an 18%, and manufacturing and retail quite often go hand in hand. Then we look at the technical industry, which includes the mining data, and they follow right behind the mining sector, leading the market by about 65%. To follow on the previous comparison of our Namibian industries, we've taken the analysis a little bit further this time by looking at the specific industries within the Namibian market and having a view of the REM trend or the movement in the remuneration data from February 2020 to June. The first is Namibia mining. So yes, Namibia mining sector is a leader within the Namibian market. So let's see if they've been influenced and how they've been influenced by COVID and the lockdown. We don't see a very big change from February to June, February being on your left-hand side, and then June on your right-hand side. Split by the specific employment equity levels, we see an increase in the average salary or total guaranteed package on the unskilled level. We see a slight decrease on the semi-skilled level and on the skilled technical level, and then increase in the total guaranteed packages of professionally qualified and senior management. So very much a mixed message, and there could be various elements contributing to the change in the total guaranteed packages. Like promotions, it's possible that skilled technical level employees have actually been promoted to professionally qualified or to middle management level, and the same for professionally qualified to senior management. For the Namibia financial services sector, we did the same analysis to see what the movement was for the annual guaranteed packages from February to June, and we only saw a decrease on the semi-skilled levels and the skilled technical levels. For all other levels, the total guaranteed packages actually increased. And on average, there was an increase from February to June of about a 0.8% across all levels of employees. The Namibia technical sector is up next, and on average, we saw a decrease from February to June of about a 0.13%. And we only saw decreases on top management and executive level, and then on your semi-skilled level. We would definitely expect that the industries who were hardest hit by the lockdown and the restrictions put into place, we would see a significant change in the remuneration data or even the employment numbers within that industry. And these industries included manufacturing, amongst others, some of the retail sectors, definitely tourism and hospitality. Here we look at Namibia manufacturing, and we see an average decrease from February to June of about a 0.6%. And on three levels, we see that packages have decreased. On the semi-skilled level, on the skilled technical level, and then on senior management level. The Namibia retail sector was definitely impacted by the lockdown and the COVID restrictions that were put into place. And we actually see the result of that impact in the industry, where there was an average decrease from February to June of about a 1.1%. And that's the biggest average decrease we've seen from the other industry analysis. We see decreases on all levels except on senior management. As an additional analysis, we have taken a view to look at the remuneration data that we do have available for the Namibian tourism or hospitality sector. The data we are comparing here is the remuneration data we've captured with a customized survey done in August 2019 versus the data we currently have in the system June 2020. And we took a view to see how remuneration has changed in that period. And we actually do not see a decrease, but an increase of about 7%. Now, we definitely believe our survey data does not yet reflect the true impact of how COVID has influenced the industry. Why we say this is because every participant, only once they grant increases or if they have a significant change to their payroll data of about 10%, are they required to resubmit the REM data within the survey. Now, for the past 2 to 3 months during lockdown and COVID, we've not received a request to resubmit any data from the tourism and hospitality sector. But we will definitely keep an eye on this sector specifically to see what the influence is in the next few months. To continue with our REM trends, we now have a look at how the Namibia private sector pays or compares with public enterprises. Public enterprises is in the dark maroon color and pink represents the private sector. Now, we would expect that the private sector pays more than public enterprises as a whole, but that is actually not the case. And we've seen for a number of years now that the public sector or public enterprises tends to pay slightly more on lower level employees than on higher level employees. You will see from unskilled level up to about qualified professionals or middle management, the public sector actually leads on the packages offered to employees. We only see a switch around or a shift from senior management upwards, where the private sector would then pay more than the public sector would. Now, the average lead is public sector on private sector is about 14%. When we analyze the public enterprises or the public sector data a little bit more, we would like to show you the remuneration data or trend by the specific tier classifications. Now, the tier classifications have been recently amended according to the published PAYGA Act in January 2020, and we've rearranged our data sets to reflect the specific tier classifications, which we refer to as PAYGA 1, PAYGA 2, and PAYGA 3. PAYGA 1 being your commercial enterprises, PAYGA 2 non-commercial enterprises, and PAYGA 3 your financial institutions. It is expected, and it is what we can see in the market data, that your commercial enterprises or PAYGA 1 actually pay slightly more than other public enterprises. Our last analysis includes an illustration from the Namibian national market, pay per discipline. We extract a specific pay by discipline on a specific employee level. So, for example, on a professionally qualified level, we extract the pay by the specific discipline to see which discipline in the Namibian market leads. The technical disciplines are paid above the rest, whereas health and safety and risk and compliance would follow, and thereafter only do we see IT, distribution, and educational related disciplines. Now, normally pay is linked to a qualification, as well as the consequence of error in the job. For example, where mistakes are made with distribution may be significantly less than mistakes made within a technical discipline or position. The analysis of this would indicate that one generic pay structure may not always accommodate for all different disciplines within an organization. And from a pay scale perspective, you could consider having two different pay scales, one for technical disciplines, for example, which is the core function of the business, and one for support staff. But this may cause administrative issues and burdens, as well as a perceived unfair pay on the same grade levels. We just wanted to share the view so that you could see what type of disciplines within the Namibian market lead on pay versus other type of disciplines. Please allow us to take the opportunity to share with you the current service offerings that we have on play for all our clients. We are here to help you with all your HR and remuneration related challenges. Our People and Organizational Services in Namibia is supported by a team of 4 professionals, and we can assist with a variety of HR-related services, whether outsourced or to assist with the review of your internal records. We can assist with organizational structure review and redesign to align better to your organization's strategic direction. We can review job descriptions and design new job descriptions. We can assist with job evaluation and grading with the use of our internet-based grading system REMmeasure. We can assist with skills audits, performance management and incentive scheme designs, HR policy development and review, all specific HR policies. We can have a look at that for you and review them, see if they are market related and aligned to best practice and legislation, of course. We can assist with change management, soft skill training, culture surveys, and currently we've added a new service portfolio looking at employment equity compliance to assist with the compliance element of employment equity. We can provide you with an array of solutions to all your remuneration challenges. So not only do we capture remuneration data within REMchannel, our online salary survey, but we can assist with effective and external remuneration equity comparisons. We can assist with evaluating your current pay scales using REMchannel to benchmark your current remuneration structure with that of the Namibian market. And once compared, we can then assist to develop a sound, equitable and fair remuneration scale, which is market related. We can assist with your REM strategies and philosophies and implementation plans. And we also assist with payrolls outsourcing or payroll reviews, conversion from basic plus benefits remuneration approach to total cost to company or vice versa. We can assist with the design and review of performance management systems and incentive schemes. We can design and review your sales compensation structures, and we also assist with customized remuneration and benefit surveys. So all remuneration which is not captured within our survey, we can assist with designing a customized survey to a customized list of organizations where we can gather the data from and analyze it for you. We also review and design remuneration-related policies. Very often, we are approached and requested for a market-related pay scale or a best market practice pay scale. But it is very important to note that it's not a one-size-fits-all or an off-the-shelf solution that we sell to our clients. A very customized approach and methodology is followed to design and implement a pay scale which fits with your organization's HR strategy and philosophy. A number of processes have to be completed accurately and sequentially prior to the design of a pay scale. Job analysis is the breakdown of a job into the tasks and processes to understand what the employee in the role is expected to do. Thereafter, job documentation or job descriptions, documenting the responsibilities of a position for guidance during recruitment, onboarding, and the day-to-day operations. Thereafter, job evaluation and grading. Job evaluation is a systematic and objective ranking of jobs in terms of relative importance with one another, the value or difficulty with which it can be done through PwC REMmeasure. Grading. Once job evaluation is completed, a job worth hierarchy is developed. This forms a basis for market comparisons. Only thereafter do we embark on the pay philosophy. This refers to the organization's decision on how competitively it wishes to pay its employees. This is determined by sustainability, affordability, and the talent required by the organization. Market positioning and benchmarking refers to the exercise where we compare an organization's remuneration by grade or position, and this is done through REMchannel. Thereafter, once determining our market position and benchmark, we only embark in designing the pay scale, because your pay scale is customized to your market position, aligning to your pay philosophy. Now, once an organization understands how it compares to the market, a statistical pay scale is designed based on the market data used. If you need assistance with designing a customized pay scale for your organization, please feel free to contact us today. With our podcast today, we decided to include some useful resources like publication survey and research, which is at your disposal, published by PwC. PwC publications that are available in this time of need, the first of which is the COVID-19 Crisis Center, responding to the business impact of the coronavirus. Now, PwC's Crisis Center is working together with a range of organizations across industries across the globe to help them during this difficult time. You're welcome to go to their website, which is Global Crisis Center, for more information on and diagnostics on how organizations, including those without direct exposure to the virus, can focus their efforts going forward. The next publication is the Human Capital 2020 and Beyond, the Power to Perform. And the publication unpacks the challenges of disruption and understanding how your people have the power to perform with some relative topics in the publication. You can download the full report at no additional costs. Talent management during COVID-19. Contact our office for a copy of this survey, which we published during April 2020 on the effect of COVID-19 on talent management for Namibian companies specifically. And finally, please subscribe to our HR Matters newsletter on the Namibian website as well as the South African website. The HR Matters create a platform to share our knowledge and insights with HR practitioners and executives on the topical matters affecting the HR scope, as well as informed commentary on current developments. That brings us to the end of our June 2020 podcast for REM trends in Namibia. And we would like to close off with encouraging all of you to embrace the challenge of rewarding responsibly in this unfamiliar territory we find ourselves in. And good luck with creating that balance of maintaining a sustainable, affordable wage bill while sustaining your REM philosophy and your talent pool within the organization. Thank you very much.